Hi everyone, I'm Cleon Wong from ASRock. Today I'm here to promote our new product, DeskMini. Now, ASRock has been working with Intel Corporation to make this new form factor, Mini STX, which is slightly smaller than the usual Mini ITX and also bigger than Nook. But what makes STX so special is that inside the Mini STX motherboard has a standard CPU socket, so that users may choose to use their own desired CPUs, i7, i5, i3, whatever they want to install. Now we have the two Mini STX and the Nook put on the table side by side. You can see apparently the Nook is smaller in size, but it has its restrictions, such as due to the heat dissipation issues. So users can only use U-series CPUs. Like in this one, we're using the i7 6500U CPU, and users aren't able to swap the CPU. They can only use the CPU inside. Compared to that, ASRock's DeskMini, the Mini STX, has enough size so it can not only does it fit in a swappable CPU. Right now we have an i3 6100 CPU crammed inside, but you can also fit in a standard Intel box fan inside. Now this is only exclusive on ASRock's DeskMini. Other Mini STX don't support standard box fans. So now let's run some tests and check out the performance differences on these two systems. Our first runner-up is the Nook, paired with a Core i7 6500U CPU. And by running Cinebench R15, we have a score of 304. On the other hand, ASRock's DeskMini paired with a Core i3 6100 CPU, we have a CPU score of 400. So that means a lot. With ASRock's Mini STX and i3, which costs considerably lower, it costs about like $111. It has way much better performance than i7 U-series CPU, which costs like about almost $400. Putting ASRock's DeskMini next to a traditional tower-sized desktop PC makes it a lot desirable, not just because of the portability, but also because of the size. And another thing is that for these tower-sized PCs, you have to slide them under the table because of the enormous size. So that makes installing, plugging in, or removing USB devices, cables, or even audio devices a pain in the ass, because you have to crawl all the way under the table or at the back of your chassis. But that won't happen on ASRock's DeskMini because of the miniature size, so you can just place it on top of your table and remove any cables or devices easily. Another thing that's different is that for these tower-sized desktops, users usually spend an additional around like $50 for a discrete graphics card. So now let's run some tests to see how these $50 discrete graphics cards stand up against DeskMini with the integrated graphics on the Core i3 CPU, for instance. For both configurations, we're all using the Core i3 6100 CPU to be fair. And first, we've run 3D Mark 12 on ASRock's DeskMini, and we're using the integrated graphics from a Core i3 CPU, and we have a score of 919 marks. On the other hand, the desktop tower, we're using a discrete graphics card, NVIDIA's GT620, and it has a score of 467, which proves that users don't necessarily have to waste around like $50 on a discrete graphics cards. Even the Mini STX with the integrated graphics may have better graphics performance than larger desktops. Let's take a look inside ASRock's DeskMini and see how to install the components. At the rear end of the box, there's a small metal handle. By pulling it, then you can open it up. It slides open like a drawer. Next, we'll install the components using pictures. Inside there's a Mini STX motherboard, and in the middle there's a CPU socket where you can install your CPU of choice, Core i7, i5, i3, whatever. And next to the CPU socket there's two SO-DIMM slots for you to install SO-DIMM modules, 2 of them to be exact. And next to that there's two M.2 slots, where the one below you can add a M.2 Wi-Fi card, and add another M.2 PCI SSD on top of that. Or if you want even more space, then you can flip this tray upside down, and beneath the tray there's also enough space to cram in SATA 2.5-inch SSD. And flip it back onto the right side again, then you can add, this one's ASRock exclusive, you can put a standard Intel box fan on top of your CPU for better cooling. And then just slip the tray back in again, and now you're good to go. If you're interested in a highly upgradable and compact design mini STX system, then ASRock DeskMini is your first choice. It can be used for personal use, be a business desktop, industrial, or even educational. So, this is ASRock's DeskMini. See you next time.